physical edge setter.
I see some gas on this. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody.
Dig, drop, you're finished.
Hey, first down. This is weird. It works the best, right?
Yep. Here we are. What's happening, everybody? I am GreenBean, and this is the After Hours Jets Fest. Let me see. I'm not feeling the hats today. I don't like my lights. I don't feel like everything's wrong. This is all right, right? We'll do this. I'm glad you're here. Once again, we have impromptu style decided to continue our Jets talk, which we didn't get enough of in the previous stream at Jets Talk 24/7 with my good friends Ryan and Matt O'Leary. We were just getting started, it felt like. I was like, you know what? Let's talk about more stuff. We have big news, man. We have big news. One is big news for the New York Jets. Another one, and we got to talk about it, guys, okay? It does kind of deal with the Jets because it's no longer us doing this stupid stuff. But let me say this. These two things absolutely matter to the crazy-ass people who are still in this chat at 10:30 at night on a Tuesday, okay? So it matters to us. Well, it's not 10:30 for this fella. He is, what time is it, Braden? It's probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that right? Did I have it right? I know that would be interesting, and we'll talk about that too. So let's start it with the big one, okay? And Braden from New Zealand is already mentioning it here. Very quickly, I'll just say hello to a few of you up top. Horatio Hornblower's here. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. And Hank is back, and Michael Prasad. It's good to see you guys. My buddy Vafadoost is here. Sully, who reminded me about the chips in the last game, which clearly helped Sully, right? Clearly. I don't discount that sort of thing. I panicked when you reminded me. Twisted is here. Gyro, Gaetan. You never told me how to say it. Gyro. He doesn't care. He just says, no, say what you want to say. I got it. Maybe I keep missing your response. Wild Wave, Fat and Ugly's here. That's good. Dante Carlucci. There you are. Carlucci. Hey. Snowball, Emanon. It's good to see you guys. Squirmy Weasel. Oh, good. I'm glad you were at the game, man. I don't know if you saw my Jets pod this week. I was talking to you guys. We were proud of you out here, man. Just the energy coming out of the stadium, and you guys were invaded by Bills Mafia. So the fact that you held strong with probably half of the stadium being the enemy, you guys made us proud. Squirmy Weasel, we're proud of you. So thank you for being there, man. You guys are the best. Jay-Z's here, Kaz is here, and the rest. I see Jeremy too. So Braden brings this up. Now, I was trying to find it. I was watching the interview with Robert Saleh on CBS tonight. This is just fresh news. So I found out about it from Tigo, our good buddy, Talking Jets with Tigo on the previous stream. Robert Saleh said what we have been saying out here for a long time. I mean, guys, it dates back to last year when we drafted Elijah Moore. Most of us assumed, assuming, the whole thing, it makes an ass out of you and me, right? Maybe that was a mistake, but we pretty safely assumed that Elijah Moore is going to be predominantly our nice dynamic slot receiver. And if not the slot, maybe the Z, right? But we have him out wide as a split end, the X. And it was like weird, right? Like, no, he did some nice things out there. He's a very talented receiver. I don't think there's anything that he really can't do, honestly. And I think that if we used him as a focal point of the offense, I think he would pull it off. Honestly, I think Elijah Moore is a very, very talented young player. Now, the go routes with big, tall, 6'2" cornerback, I don't think that's necessarily the thing. Elijah Moore is quicker than he is fast, right? He's not that he's slow, but I think his asset is his quickness as opposed to his open straight line speed. So that's the one thing I think that he wouldn't be really, it's not why use him in an area where he's got so many strengths. So Robert Saleh saying now, after a year and a half of us saying, why isn't Elijah Moore playing in the slot? Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh said that they are planning to move Elijah Moore inside to the slot position full time. Now, Braden says we might see JFM inside and Elijah Moore. Now, what about that? Now, we'll get to the JFM piece, and don't let me forget it, all right? But I really want to get your thoughts on Elijah Moore. I see Iowa and up and away, and Jason Zayas and David are here. I also see Mike B and Saunders and Noel. But let me know what you guys think, man. So Elijah Moore, since he's been here for whatever reason, Mike LaFleur has decided to use him as our X. Now, Garrett Wilson came here, and just from my eyes, Garrett Wilson seems more like an X to me. I think Garrett Wilson can be a slot as well, but he seems more like an X. If I'm looking at the two players, he seems more like an X. But we have Corey Davis playing there, and Garrett Wilson has been kind of pushing Elijah Moore somewhat out of the slot, which is it's fascinating to me that we've created kind of a logjam. And don't forget about Berrios, who the reports say is, as far as from a technicality standpoint, technician, Berrios is the best slot we have. Now, he might not be the most talented when compared to Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, but Berrios is no slouch, make no mistake. But it turns out that he's actually the one that plays the role the best on the roster, which is crazy. So we have all these friggin' guys, the slot, so they're pushing Elijah Moore to the outside, which is nuts. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Garrett Wilson outside, even with Corey Davis back, if you have Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson on the outside, Garrett Wilson's feet are good enough, and I mean good enough, to shake and bake those damn cornerbacks. He can do it, man. He can lose them right off the line. He's that good. And you need that from out there because he's playing the best cornerback a lot of the time. Or if not the best, he's playing the number 2. And so these are the guys 6'1", 6'3". That's the guy, big and strong. A lot of times they're going to be playing press on you. Garrett Wilson, I can lose you, man. He's slippery out there. You ever watch his feet? I'm telling you, man. All he needs to do, and this is where Zach Wilson has to, and I think he did a good job this week. There's a couple plays, and one to Garrett Wilson in particular, where he just threw it down the seam right there. He just threw it to him. And Garrett Wilson, he had one step on his defender. All he did was get inside on him. That's it. He had one step above him, like in front of him. All he did was get inside, and Zach Wilson threw it, hit him, he caught it, man. That's Garrett Wilson. And Zach Wilson has to start knowing that that's open in the NFL. You're not going to get guys flying around, hey, very often. If that's what you're waiting for, you're going to have problems. Sometimes, sure. So what do you guys think about this? Right, look at this. Green motherfucking bean. What's up? So King Blaze wants Doritos. Yeah, me too, man. James Dean says MetLife was amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, so Snowball likes it, right? Is that? He's doing like a Snowball. You're confusing me. Like just all right. So that emoji means like, I don't know. Like right? Like I don't know, man. That's what it means. Now, Wild Wave, on the other hand, is using the purple devil emoji, which means that's kind of what that means. Justin Jett says, if Moore is the slot and Corey is back, that means goodbye, Mims. It could. It could. And that bothers me. It does. It bothers me. But we don't know if Corey's coming back. We have no idea when he's coming back. And the thing is this, Justin. All we need to see from Denzel Mims, and hopefully we did, his impact in the running game is undeniable. If you put him and Corey Davis out there, dude, those are two additional blockers that are effective. It's not, with all due respect, it's not Elijah Moore and Berrios. Like Mims and Corey Davis are effective blockers. All he's got to do is be more important to the offense than Jeff Smith. That's it. And if he can do that, if Mims gets 15 plays a game, 20 plays a game, and let's say if Mims gets 20 plays a game and 14 of them are running plays, so be it. He gets 3 receptions a game, for 40 yards, 45 yards, something like that. His average this year is crazy because of that one long 63-yard catch. But through his career, it's over 15 yards. I mean, Mims, he's got an over. So you think 3 catches, 15 yards, so 45. 3 catches for 45, and he's blown open some holes for the running game to take over the game. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, the reason that he's not out there is because Jeff Smith plays special teams, but we broke that down last week. He's playing an average of 30% of the special teams plays. So is Jeff Smith 30% of the special teams plays more valuable than what Mims can do for the offense? I beg to differ. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. So let's see. Horatio says, with Mims getting back in good graces, Corey Davis getting healthy, in order to keep even more in the mix, they have to move him to slot. It means they like him and want him on the field. Well, and that's interesting, Horatio. And I think that's a good point. How the hell can you not, as an offensive coordinator, you look at our skills group. You look at Corey Davis, and you like him or not, right? He's a very, very big-bodied. Zach loves him. Good hands. He had the rough patch, right? But he's a damn good receiver and very effective in the blocking game. You have Denzel Mims, 6'3", runs about 4'4", high pointer, the whole thing. And then you got Garrett Wilson, Berrios, and Elijah Moore. How the hell could you, licking your chops, add to that Michael Carter and now James Robinson was Breece Hall. Add to that Uzoma and Conklin and Ruckert, and it's like Yaboa. It's crazy. I think you got to figure out ways to get these guys involved. And if one week it's Mims, and the next week it's Davis and Garrett, and the next week it's Elijah Moore and Barry, then so be it, man. But you gotta game plan to the team you're playing. Which players that I have are gonna best give us the ability to beat the living hell out of that team that we're playing this week? And that's what you got to do. FOC says, I don't know much about football, but using more in the slot sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I am with you, man. Right. Let's see. Maybe Jeff Smith gets bumped in, and that's what I'm saying, Reed. Really, that's what I'm saying. Well, listen, with all due respect, when's the last play that you heard Jeff Smith make? I mean, and I speak from ignorance. Now, I did look. I tried to find if he's making tackles. I didn't find many stats. Like I said, I found his plays. I found his percentages. I didn't find any stats. Now, maybe somebody can find those for us. But, I mean, I know all about Hardy. I know all about Sherwood. I know all about Will Parks. I'm not seeing Jeff Smith doing anything real. And again, maybe he is. It's not sticking out to me. And he's only playing 30%. So 70% of the special teams, he's not even out there. Snowball thinks Zach will like more in this. I think so too, man. Sneakers to Boot says he did his punishment running all over. I know, man. They sent him all over the joint. Well, that's the thing. It's like, as an offensive coordinator and as the designer of the game plan, you have to look at your guys and you got to say, look, man, some weeks you're going to be the focal point. Some weeks you're going to be able to break it open and get all the stats in the world. Other weeks, we're going to be trying to get the running game. We're going to be trying to keep their offense off the field or whatever it might be. And you're going to have to be used as a decoy. You're going to have to pull guys from over here to over here. You're going to have to help me make them think the ball's going to you when it's going the other way. And we have to do that effectively. You have to play 100%. If you can get guys that buy into that, and then 2 weeks later, it's there, they end up getting, and that's just the way it goes because the offense as a whole has taken precedence. That's when it's really a success. Sure, having the one guy, the Megatron, the Devontae Adams, right? Having that guy is fun. It's great. But when you look at the teams that win the Super Bowls, more times than not, it's the teams that have a spread out. There's numerous guys. There isn't the Megatron. Like Dez Bryant, that kind of a thing. Again, it's not to say that's a bad thing or anything, but when you have an offense that can just, from any angle, just stab them in the heart, that's what we're shooting for. Let's see. Mike says he's best served in his slot. I think so too. Yeah, Sully says Elijah in the slot with Wilson, Mims outside is recipe for success. And I think that if Corey Davis, now he's got 2 more weeks to come back, so maybe he's ready, right? But they have to be looking at things. And, Mims is just as good of a blocker as Corey Davis. And, Zach was throwing it. I mean, dude, the passes in some instances, they were not easy to catch. I still think Mims should have come down with one. Again, I'd really like to see him put the damn questions aside, and he hasn't done that yet. So I don't know where the staff is with him, but boy, oh boy, man, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Denzel Mims, dude, that's my kind of offense. For real. Right, son. That's the thing. When he came out, we all thought this guy's slot all day. And they tried to make him into this out. That could be what the gripe is, dude. Honestly. And they're sending him on these go routes. And he's like, what the fuck am I doing out here? Why do you got me? Why am I out here? I do my best work in the middle of the field. Maybe that's what the problem is. What about Braxton? Well, that's the thing. Braxton is kind of a jack of all trades too. And he's primarily a slot, right? And they do the design plays for him, some sweep kind of things and some RPO stuff. But I think like you have to be real. There are people that are the starters and there are people that are the backups to a degree. It's not to say they can't have a role and have their impact. Just like with the defensive line. Like, do not tell me that Quinnen Williams and Nathan Shepard should be splitting. Quinnen is the star. Nathan Shepard is in relief. Granted, it's all working and I have no gripes. But in my opinion, Nathan Shepard gets a little bit more than maybe he should in the rotation. But I love that they got rid of Jacob Martin. Why did they do that? Because they have too many guys for the rotation, right? But in the same way as Berrios, like Solomon Thomas probably believes he should be starting. He was starting for the last few years. He thinks he should be there. But Sheldon Rankins and Quinnen are in front of him. Now Sheldon Rankins is injured, so we'll see who gets that. Like Braden said, maybe JFM now goes inside. And dude, the resurgence. I mean, really, the not resurgence, but the kind of the uptrend of Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson. How do you keep those guys off the field for JFM on the outside? Get him on the field with JFM, man. Right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Gitmo Bob, how you doing, buddy? Was this past week LaFraud's best game plan? You know, it's hard to say, Gitmo Bob, because in truth, there has been a few weeks where I thought LaFleur was doing an exceptional job scheming guys open. Zach was unable to hit him. Flacco, the first couple weeks, I thought outside of Cleveland, I thought Flacco was a train wreck. It was open guys all over the place. He's missing dudes. So it's hard to say. I'd really love to see, and even if Zach is going to be unspectacular, at least if he could be efficient and and remove the mistakes, just like we saw this week. If he could play that way, somewhere 150 to 250 a game, couple touchdowns, no picks, that kind of a thing, run for 30 yards, get a couple firsts. Then we'll see how effective the offense is, because Zach's passes are erratic, man. They're all over the place. Sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. Now, he played well in this last game, and, you take nothing from him. There was some real nice lasers and darts. He did it in New England game, too. But that's the thing, and like what Brian Nessa said, we have too many weapons. The thing is, you can't have too many weapons, in my opinion. But you have to understand who's what. Like, you can't be guilty. You can't say, I got to get Berrios in there too. Like, no. Berrios is the backup. Berrios is second string. Now he'll have his packages, and we'll use him for sure. He's great. And he's the starting punt returner and kick returner. You know what I mean? So he's got that role. And that's how it goes. Just like the defensive line, just like Jamie and Sherwood, who when CJ Mosley went out for 4 plays, Jamie and Sherwood came in and literally made those tackles. 4 plays in a row. It was either 3 or 4, forgive me. Every single play. Jamie and Sherwood came boom, boom. And it's like, where the hell's he? Well, he's behind Mosley. Stud. But he's behind CJ Mosley, and rightfully so, because CJ Mosley is the captain. He's the leader of the whole D. So, see, Jamie and Sherwood, you'll be relegated to specials. And Jamie and Sherwood is kicking ass on special teams. Matthew 13400, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, Bean, the game was nuts. Even with all that blue there in my 15 years of going, only time I saw it that loud was 2009 when Brady had 2 delay of games. Well, interestingly, Matthew, number one, that's just awesome, right? Even with, I know it sounded loud, like even with all of those fans being Buffalo fans, it still sounded like louder than when it's mostly us. And that's why, I guess that's what a damn good game will give you. You know what I mean? I've been in there last 4 or 5 times I was in there. It sucked. And the energy's low, and everybody's just sitting there like, you were just waiting to leave. It's like, well, what time am I going to leave? This game sucks. That's unfortunate. So, but 2009, that's the week 2 game you're talking about, right? That was Sanchez's first year. Sanchez won Rookie of the Week that week. That was week 2. That was one of the loudest games ever. But that's the thing. Giant Stadium, Matthew, was just inherently louder than MetLife. MetLife is bigger. There's more people, but it's like spread. It's open. It's like this almost. It's like Giant Stadium was like it was like a bowl. It was like just this bowl. Very loud, very tight. The fans were closer to the field. Like now they have all this space so people could pay money and walk around and drink champagne, There's all that kind of shit. So everybody's far away now. But back in Giant Stadium, you were on top of those guys. We used to, we harassed the other team's bench when we were there. Harassed. Brutal. Today, they'd be like, hey, the security would come over. They'd be like, you got to get those guys out. We used to brutalize them. You suck. Nice pick, Marino. Nice pick, Marino. That's the stuff we were doing. I used to sit down there all the time. One of my friends had tickets down there. So like my season tickets were upstairs. But I was going to games before I had the season tickets too. So we would sit down there. I'm telling you, we were brutal. We were on top of them. We were like 10 feet away from the fucking players, man. So, but it's good. I'm glad MetLife was loud. I started believing that it can't get loud in there. So it looks like it can. That's awesome. Let's see. Tyrone John says, GreenBean, what do you think when Moore says he'd rather be traded than not being used, which he already said he wants to be a contributor to the team? Well, I think Moore handled it incorrectly. I don't give a shit what you want. Honestly, I don't care. You are on a team. You have a contract. You are in the early portion of the second year of a 4-year. You have a long time left, man. 2.5 years left. That's last year talk. The offense is just getting going. Like, this is all new pieces. Like, you can't do that. And we're on a 3-game win streak. I don't think I have a discussion going on Instagram. People saying, oh, he's allowed to, he has the right to. Bullshit. You're getting paid by this team to be a part of the unit. If they say, hey, what's best for this team, what's going to help us win is that if you sit down on your ass every play, sit down on your ass. Yeah, but I want the ball now. Okay, well, relax. That's not what we're doing today. We'll get there. Be a man. Do the job. And your time will come. That's how it goes, Tyrone. That's how I see it. And that said, I think we were misusing them. I don't disagree with that. But, especially during a win streak, bro. Bad form. Bad form. Randilla says maybe a gadget play. Yeah, maybe. Maybe a gadget. Right. Well, that's the thing, dude. We ran the ball to Moore a couple times last year. He scored a long touchdown from the running back position, at least a sweep. Maybe not running back, but he ran the ball. Chris KV, what's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. He says, Elijah Moore in the slot will equal points. He's starving for the ball, and I know he'll make the most of it. I love the way this coaching staff is willing to grow and evolve just as much as the players. That's it's good to see, right? Because one of my gripes over the past 2 years has been my very real fear that this staff is too stubborn to consider new ideas. I was afraid of that because that's what I'm seeing. Like, that's what it looks like to me. Now, again, you got to be patient, right? You can't, like, in 1 year start chopping people's heads off. But this year when we started, we were 32nd defense again. I'm like, oh, no. Like, we weren't able to score any points. Like, the first week, man, we scored 3 points. Yes, we scored a touchdown late at garbage time, but we scored 3 points that entire game. And we even missed a field goal, too. So it was just like, it was garbage. Defense couldn't really, we were 32nd ranked defense and we couldn't score any points. And it's like, you want to believe that your coaches will go back to the drawing board and figure something new out. But it looks like they're not only are they sticking to their guns and it's starting to stick, but they're also able to wiggle some new ideas into there, namely Elijah Moore in the slot. And I agree with you, Chris. I think Elijah Moore in the slot is going to equal points. I think he handled it wrong, but I never thought he was untalented. I mean, there are people telling me he sucks anyway. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how we got there. How did he go from the guy we were expecting to have a breakout season to sucking? I don't know how that works. So, I think, it's exciting. The idea, like the fact that our staff is seeing, like, hey, This is where he wants to play. This is where he's going to be the most successful. We had him outside for the whole last year and this year, and it's not working. Right. Jets 830 reminding everybody, don't forget to hit that like button, guys. It helps us out. We got 175 of you in here right now for the late show. If all of you hit the like, it goes a long way because it's percentages, right? I don't know if you guys know that. Like YouTube, if you get 100 likes is not the same as another 100. So let's say you have 103 people in here and you get 100 likes. At another stream, I have 800 people in here, but I get 100 likes. Do you see the difference? YouTube recognizes that. So if you be so kind, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, now's the perfect time, man. Do it. It's just us. We're just hanging. Go ahead. Hit that little subscribe button. I'm on my way. I think I got, 50 more to get to my 9,000, and then it's off to the races. I want to get to 10,000 before my second year birthday. I've only been doing this for, less than 2 years. So if I can get to 10,000 before December 31st, it's going to be exciting. And if you haven't subscribed, you can help me. For everybody that has subscribed, thank you, man. You guys are the best. I can't believe I have almost 10,000. Like I'm about to pass 9,000 any day because of you guys. So thank you. Brian Scantlebury, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, I love hearing all these so-called experts trying to explain away the Jets' success. Only a half game back, and they still call us the worst team. Isn't it funny, Brian? Well, it shows you clearly it's not about what's before. It's not about what's happening. It's about their opinion. And that's what we have to remember. Like all these shows, whether it's Stephen A. Smith, Chris Sims, Boomer Esiason, Brady Quinn. It's their opinion. It's what they think. They don't know shit. They don't have access to the room. They don't know. No, they know more than I do, right? Of course. At least as far as, what's, access and all that. So I don't think they know more than me about certain ideas. And I mean, not everybody anyway. But yeah, dude, they just look. Think about this, Brian. There's a kid who came out of college in 2011, and he got a job writing for a paper. He spent 5-6 years writing for the paper, covering the beat. And then he gets a job maybe at ESPN, and now he's doing some on-camera stuff. And now here we are, 12 years later. He's now has a career. He's been out of college for 12 years. He's had a career in sports media for 12 years. And the Jets have sucked the entire time outside of one wackadoodle year with a rookie head coach and whose quarterback got his jaw broken in his own locker room, and a bunch of old vets collected just happened to have a great season and then fell apart and didn't make it to the playoffs. Outside of that one brief moment, the Jets have been the bottom of the NFL the entire time. Now, never the worst. People don't, they neglect to say that. There's always been a team that's picked before us, always. We've had number 3, we've had number 2, we've had number 6, we've had number 11, but we've never had number 1, not since 1997, I think it was. So think about that, Brian. Their entire career, and they've been doing it a long time. The Jets have sucked. So they like that. They are comfortable with that. They've built their career with that being a standard, being a constant. They don't like it. And they don't believe it. Yeah, they're going to blow. Don't worry. They've blown it. I've been doing this for 12 years. They've always blown it. They'll fall apart. And they don't recognize this. It's brand new, and change is weird and all that stuff. That's what it is. That's what we're seeing. That's why it's important for us not to let them get us upset. Like, people fucking write to me sometimes like, did you hear what Stephen A. Smith said? I'm like, dude, no. Number one, I didn't hear it because I don't listen or watch that guy. He's designed to try to upset people. That's all he does. He'll change his take from today to tomorrow. He doesn't give a shit. He'll say the exact opposite thing tomorrow just as passionately. He does not care. So knowing that, why would I listen to this guy? And if I do happen to hear it, why would I care? You know what I mean? That's what I think. But you're right. It is funny out there. It's funny. If you look at it through the right lens, you just keep talking. Keep talking. Did you hear the Buffalo Bills, announcers, whatever you call them, after the game? They were even making fun of Jets fans. Oh, Jets fans think, they're like they did something today. Yeah, we did something today. Your quarterback might even be out for 4 weeks because of Bryce Huff. Because your guy, when he didn't hold him, he literally was incapable of beating our guy, of stopping him. And he got to your quarterback and almost ripped his damn arm off. Again, we don't root for injuries, but shit. Don't tell us, hey, man, you're the one who couldn't stop us. You're the one. Don't make it about the final play, too. Oh, it's pass interference. Who gives a shit? We owned you the entire fourth quarter. What they scored? 3 points in the whole fourth quarter, whole second half. They scored 3 points the whole second half. That's Josh Allen, Diggs. They're all out there. Knox, they're all there, man. They couldn't do shit because of us. They can talk it away as they will. Ryan Wooldridge. That's an interesting way to say that, Ryan. Ryan Wooldridge. There you go. Thank you for the super chat. Could Rodgers go play next year for the Cowboys? Yeah, man. I think Rodgers might be on the move. And I also think, Derek, if the Raiders continue to stay at the bottom, I don't think Josh McDaniels is gonna stay with Carr. He's going to take the out and grab a rookie. Like if he's in the top 3, dude, they're taking a quarterback. No doubt in my mind. Because that will give Josh McDaniels the 2-3 years at least after having a shitty campaign with a very good team. Josh McDaniels sucks. I'm just going to share that with everybody. Okay? He's done nothing without Bill Belichick. So if he has a top 3 or 4 pick and there's a quarterback there, he's taking one. And that will mean that Derek Carr is on the move. Now, Derek Carr, up until this, I don't even know let me see what his stats are this year. Every single year of his career, he's thrown for just under or over 4,000 yards. All right, Derek Carr. Let me just see here. So Derek Carr has 1,880 yards. This is a bad season for him. Well, look, he threw for last week. He threw for 260 and 2 touchdowns. The week before, he threw for 101 yards and a pick. Then 241, 241, 188, 303, 252, 290. It's not him, man. He's only got 2 picks on the year. He's got 11 touchdowns. Oh, no. At the first game of the year, he threw 3 picks. So he's got 5 picks, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks. You don't think Derek Carr is going to be a commodity out there? So if the Raiders, if they have a top 3 pick, let's say top 5, they have a top 5 pick, they're taking a quarterback, most likely. They'll trade Derek Carr for an extra first because plenty of teams will want him. The Colts, another vet quarterback, And then he'll get the couple free years. And then Derek Carr, not only Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr will be on the move. Crazy, man. Let me tell you something. I mean this sincerely. I'm rooting for Zach. I'm 100% behind him. I don't want to give up on him. I told you, fucking makes me nuts with the shit he does. If last week is the new trend, I'm in. So I can't handle that running backwards stuff. But if Zach really looks like he's not the guy at the end of the year, and the Jets traded for Derek Carr, I would not be unhappy. I like Derek Carr. And I'm not saying that's what I want to do. I'm just talking. I'm just exploring hypotheticals, right? But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So, yeah, what about the no flag? You see all the Bills fans crying about the no call pass interference, which if there was going to be a call, it would be on Gabriel Davis, not Sauce anyway. But what about the helmet to helmet on Zach Wilson? Did we get called for that? We got called for half of that last week. It ruined our whole game. Half. It's crazy, man. It really is. So let's talk about, I want to get your guys' ideas. Okay. Oh, that was sorry. Yeah, Mr. J-Biz. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I don't think that's what we want to do. We want Zach to be the guy. That's what we want. But if we get to the end of the year and Zach Wilson's just erratic, can't hit, he has a good game and then he has two really bad games. If they can't get him to hit just to kind of progress and do the easy stuff, they might, because they have a team here, man. They might make a move. If they could get Josh McDaniels to trade straight up for Zach, something. Joe Douglas is crazy, man. I don't know what he'll do. But let's talk about the Colts real quick. The reason being, because everybody likes to call us the clown show, right? And that we're the laughing stock of the NFL. I had a Colts fan from the Riding the Bench podcast. Great guys. I really enjoy those guys. If you haven't seen it, you guys should check out the Riding the Bench podcast. They're funny. One's a Colts fan and one's an Eagles fan. And I find them to be funny guys. I think they're really cool too. But it's a good show. So he wrote to me today and said, dude, the Colts flipped with the Jets. We're the guys. Now, yeah. I told my boss at his ball, I said, I tried to tell you. But like the Jets, we've done some crazy moves. People would literally, like in the draft or in free agency, people would say, what? What is the logic? Like, for example, we had no quarterback. We had Bryce Petty and Hackenberg on our roster. The Jets are on the clock. There's Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson still sitting there. And the Jets took a fucking safety. As good as Jamal Adams was, he was a very highly regarded draft pick. And it was exciting, but people were like, okay, like good player. You're not getting a bad player, but really? Safety? Pick 6 with Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Now, and to be completely fair, Mahomes was not considered the slam dunk that he looks like he is now, right? He went to Andy Reid, sat behind Alex Smith for a year, the whole thing. He had a lot of question marks. But let me tell you something. At that time, Deshaun Watson was a slam dunk prospect. Now, the Bears liked Trubisky, and they gave away a bunch of picks to move up one spot to get him instead of waiting for whoever. They could have sat there and got Trubisky, but they didn't. But the fact that McCagnon passed on Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, now like hindsight, right? Deshaun Watson, all the bullshit. Now, we didn't know that then. He was a model citizen. And then on top of that, when we got to the second round, remember what Mike McCagnon did next? He took another safety. He took another one. Now, why did he do that? Because he's trying to build the team to protect against the Patriots, who were already moving away from the 2 tight end thing of Gronk and Hernandez. They were already beating us up for 5 years with it. And it was already moving away. And McCagnon's so behind on the times. He's like, oh, stupid. So believe me, everybody's looking at the Jets like, what? That's what's going on with the Colts right now. They benched Matt Ryan, who they just gave a pickup to bring in. right? After Carson Wentz, who they brought in for Frank Reich, then traded him away, even though he had 27 touchdowns and 7 picks. When's the last time a Jets quarterback did that? 27 and 7, I think, is what it was. It's close. Maybe it's 25 and 6. I don't know, something like that. So they trade him to the Commanders now. They sign Matt Ryan. They trade for Matt Ryan. And that's after Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett. They're doing all this crazy stuff. Then they decide to fire Frank Reich. And instead of promoting John Fox or any number of the coaches that are on the team, they bring in a guy who's never coached except at the high school level. High school. Is not a part of the organization. Now, he played for them years ago. That's fine. But he knows nothing about he has never worked with these coaches, knows nothing about the players. They're bringing in a guy for the final 9 games or 8 games. It's doomed. Like, what kind of move is this? So I'm really curious, guys. What the hell are they doing now? And this is the thing. How does it apply to the Jets? This was us. Now, maybe we didn't do exactly that, but let me tell you something. Just a few years ago, guys, let me give you a little history lesson. We hired a first-time coach before we hired our general manager. Okay, so what does that mean? The general manager didn't pick his coach. That's Todd Bowles and Mike McCagnon. So there's that. That's after forcing Rex Ryan on a general manager. That's why no general manager wanted to come. Except we got an accountant in John Idzik, because he's like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not going to get a GM job anywhere. I'll take it. Sure. I'll take a stab at this. Why not? It's the highest I'm ever going to get. You know what I mean? Sure. But that's all we could get, because we were saying to anyone, you have to keep this coach who's been failing for 2 years. Right? So after John Idzik Rex, then we hire the coach before the GM. Then we watched the coach hire an offensive coordinator out of retirement. He's on the couch. He's 85 years old. He brings him in. That's not even a problem, because Chan Gailey's actually good. But the second year, he's a lame duck, because he already knows he's going to retire after the year. He had already told Bowles. And then Bowles hires, in total, 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years. So we hired the coach before the GM. Then we let the coach hire 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years, 2 of which were retired before he hired them. Then we fire him, and we fired the coach, keep the GM, let him hire a new coach. Well, technically, but actually Chris Johnson overrode McCagnon because Peyton Manning called him, and he hired the guy that the Dolphins just fired. And then we let him pick all our draft picks, and then we fire him. And he spent $150 million in fucking free agents, CJ Mosley, Le'Veon Bell. And then we fired. So, guys, this was us. What the Colts are doing right now should really be a sign for you as a Jets fan. This is the difference. We are now on solid ground. And Jim Irsay is throwing darts in the wind, man. He just hired a coach with no experience. He has guys with head coaching experience on his team. Aren't you grateful? Aren't you grateful And no matter what the desired result is, the fans have to deal with this crap. This is the stuff. For years, even went back to Andrew Luck. They wouldn't give him an offensive line. He got killed. He retired early. He said, screw this, man. I'm not doing this. I'm going to get killed. Dick Cramp says Lamar has one more playoff win than Carr. It's crazy, man. Guys, and this is the thing. With all this stuff going on, all these teams throwing draft picks, the only time it's really worked has been the Rams. Everybody else, it's blowing up in their faces. And what we see on our end is a team being built from the ground up. Super young, highly motivated, incredibly talented players that are all invested in being the absolute best teammates they can be. Remember what Sauce Gardner said when they interviewed him after the draft? He said, "What do you want to tell the Jets? Now, what are they getting?" And he said, "You're getting a great teammate." That's what he said. You're going to get a great teammate. That's what I'm bringing. It's amazing. Just saying, man. Yeah, let them tank for that number one. It doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? They have the team. And now, so what are they going to do with their coaching staff? They have to start over with the whole new coaching staff too then. You know, that's the thing. Of course, they could be doing. That's totally what I'm thinking. This is an obvious tank move. The Colts have done it before. They had Peyton Manning, and it just so happened the 1 year Peyton Manning gets hurt, they're 1-15, and they get Andrew Luck. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, it's not completely transparent. But it looks like that to me. So, but then again, dude, it's like just tanking doesn't mean anything, man. Dude, you're blowing it up right now. Blowing it up. What you got to start? Who you hire? Who's the coach? You got to do the whole rookie coach thing or whatever that is. Rookie court. I don't know. Maybe it's time they just should anyway, right? But again, the point is, whatever they're doing, it's not us anymore. We're 6-3. We just beat the best team in the NFL, arguably. You can say the Eagles, you can say the Chiefs. You can even say this year the Vikings, but they're up there. They're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. We just beat them. And we may have knocked their quarterback out for the next few weeks, and they have the Vikings, and they have some hard games coming up. And it'll be Case Keenum, and they might just go into a slide. They might fall to second, third, fourth place in the AFC East. And it's hard to come back from that. Who knows? This is how football is. And I don't want to hear it, right? I don't want to hear it. How many times our quarterback gets mono, and then the backup we hired, Trevor Siemian, in one game gets his leg ripped off. He's out for the year. Now we got Luke Falk. Anybody say, oh, but that's why they're no. Jets suck. So if that's what happens to the Bills, that's what happens to the Bills. So it's interesting. Right, Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy. Right. And hopefully, look, guys, we're just talking, right? Again, like, this is what I try to tell you guys all the time. Just because we explore an idea doesn't mean that that's what we want. We're exploring. We're looking. Just talking about if the Raiders stay at that bottom 3, 4, 5 picks, they're going to Josh McDaniels is going to want the out clause. He's going to want the free card, free parking, right? New quarterback. Get rid of this kid, Derek Carr. He's a failure, even though he's a 4,000-yard passer every year. It's his fault. Get him out of here. Give me a new quarterback. I'll get my guy. And of course, it gives him a couple years free. without real heat. He's going to take it. And then that puts Derek Carr out there. So Derek Carr is going to be on the move. In the event our quarterback fails by the end of the year, we should have at least a better idea. I don't think he's going to. I think Zach's going to come out of it. He started to this week. He looked great. Looked good enough for me. Looked good enough to build on, right? But something to consider. It's interesting. Twisted says, think about JD's pick. Start with the coaches. Ridiculous. Hit after hit. Players, same thing. A few questions yet. Yes, but damn, in the shadows, the player scouts, nothing but good. I'm telling you, man. You even look at our late picks, our fourths, our fifths. They're solid. And he'll have his, and look, next year, his first round pick could be a complete bust. We don't know. But clearly, Joe Douglas knows what he's doing, right? Like you're saying, the info is good. The staff is strong. The players that are, we're you know what I mean? Like everybody's buying in. We have a team. Elijah Moore tried to ruin it. It didn't happen. We sat him and we went to Denver and beat them in their house. The best defense in the NFL up until we took it. That's right. Big Gitmo Bob's. This was the argument I was having. Oh, our injuries. We didn't have Milano. And yeah, I'm like, dude. And then somebody said to me, we didn't have Von Miller. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't have Von Miller? Von Miller was playing. I don't know if he finished, but he was playing. Don't tell me we held him to 1 sack. Cedric Aboye, a practice squad fifth tackle on our roster, the fifth, who wasn't even here 4 weeks ago. He was in Texas on a practice squad. He held Von Miller to 1 sack, one real impact play. Now he had a couple good run stops too, Von Miller. You're not going to completely neutralize him, but shit, we thought it was going to be a slaughter. Our fifth tackle on Von Miller, shit. With Gregory Rousseau, we can't even give him help. He had Oliver. It's like, oh my God, we got to double all these guys. I don't want to hear it. I'm with Bob. 23 tackles are out, and Breece Hall and Corey Davis. And Elijah Moore is doing what he's done. We got all kinds. And the team it's not crumbling, man. That is Joe Douglas's pedigree and a credit to Robert Saleh and his staff. Undeniable. All right, guys. Well, listen. We got to get AVT back. I know that's the worst one of all. Breece Hall too. Breece and AVT break my heart. They really do. So that's going to do it, man. Let's just remember that hearing Robert Saleh talk about Elijah Moore go into the slot moving forward is good news. That's what we want to hear. Like was said earlier by Braden in New Zealand, the fact that Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson are damn near unstoppable over there on the end, let them be the rotation. With now Sheldon Rankins is out, move JFM on the inside like we've been talking about. We've been saying Elijah Moore should be in the slot. We've been saying JFM should be on the inside. JFM on the outside, he doesn't have quite the bend that Bryce Huff and Jermaine Johnson have. He doesn't have it. On the inside, he's a very quick and slippery 3-tech, even at 288 pounds. We got something here, guys. It's a good week. We're going to deconstruct everything. We'll do some State of the Union type stuff. We'll break into all kinds of stuff. Fun. With that said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I love you. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I want to remind you, in the description, guys, if you haven't done it, this is not a company that pays me or anything. There's a link in there to save money on gas. I have saved, without exaggeration, thousands. Now, granted, I drive a lot, so it might not be that much. But there's probably 20 of you that have used my code. Like if you use my code in there, we each get 15 cents off a gallon in addition to whatever they're given for your first fill up. Dude, I get $5 to $7, $8 per tank back every time. Maybe $3, $4, $5, $6, something like that. Every tank I fill up. It's amazing. Anyway, the link's in there. It says save money on gas. Use my promo code. We each save additional 15 cents on your first fill up. So it's good. There you go. And if you want to join the Beanbaggers and hang out with us tomorrow, we have our All 22 breakdown, our private exclusive All 22 breakdown. We are going to break down the last drive, the offensive schemes, blocking schemes of that dominating running display, the rushing attack that gave us the game. We're going to deconstruct that. If you want to join us, join the Beanbaggers by clicking in the link. And with that all said, guys, you have a great night. I am happy we were here. I'll see you next time.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.